Hi everyone, this is Callie. Welcome back for another STAMPtember exclusive video. Today's video features the Gina K set called Shimmering Season. Thank you to Gina K Designs as always for being a sponsor and bringing us another fabulous snowflake set. This set this year has a vintage feel to it with a beautiful bird and some accessory images. I'm going to make a fun spinner card today and I hope you enjoy the process. So Tim Holtz recently came out with two new holiday sets of mica stains. This is set number 6. It's got a pretty teal color, blue, and pink color. So I'm going to use all three on this card panel here to create my background. So as you can see, I'm just spritzing it about a foot away, and I'm doing 2 to 3 spritz of each color. And then I'm going to go back and add more colors from the beginning, like the teals and the blues, just to cover that panel as much as I can and to get the look that I want. I didn't want too much pink, I just wanted a subtle amount in the background, so I went over it again with the blue and the teal. I'm using Hammermill cardstock, and I just made sure to shake up my bottle really good before using it, and I used the splat box to make sure that my work surface is protected. So I set that aside to dry, and it will slowly uncurl the paper as it dries, and now I'm just going to stamp and emboss the images from this set that I want to use. So I'm using the snowflake, and I'm also using a smaller snowflake at the center of that. Because I want that smaller snowflake to spin, I want to make sure there's plenty of room around that snowflake. And then I also embossed the ornament string as well. And lucky enough, I got the die set this year, so it helps me create the spinner card. Without a die, it is a little bit harder and trickier to create this. So I highly encourage getting the die. If you can, be sure to grab this fast before it sells out. So I also die cut a second large snowflake ring that will back the inside of my card to make it look nice and tidy on the inside. So we'll take a look at that later. And so I'm setting up my layout here to make sure I have it all in the position that I want it to be laid in. And then I'm going to use a nested circle here. I'm going to use one that's slightly larger than the circle that I die cut on that snowflake. This will give us some wiggle room so we don't have to make sure that those circle die cuts are in the exact same place for the top panel as well as this card base here that I'm going to die cut a circle into as well. So I'm going to line this up over my card base, and then I'm going to trace that opening with a pencil. That way I can die cut a second opening on my card base to create an opening for the spinner. I'm going to use that same circle die and line it up where I drew the pencil lines, and then I'll run it through my die cutting machine to get that second opening on my card base. Before I attach my background to my card base, I'm going to trim off an 1/8 inch off all of the sides. That way I have a thin matting for my card base. And then I'll attach that snowflake ring onto that front panel. I'll also attach the ornament string as well. And then I'll use an acrylic block just to hold everything down for a few seconds so that I can make sure that they're held down in place and the paper is not curling. I should also mention that having a grid mat there on my background is really helping me with the lineup of everything. So as you can see, the opening is right in the center of that grid mat, and that's going to help me line up my spinner directly in the center. So I'm using some red line tape because this tape is thick and it's super strong, and I know that it's going to help me hold my invisible thread in place. I've also added red line tape to the back of those snowflakes, and then I'm going to take a length of invisible thread here and cut off what I need. It just needs to be slightly longer than that opening on our card base. I'm going to pull that invisible thread taut. I'm sorry you can't see it too well because it's invisible, but I'm going to lay it right over that red line tape on one of the snowflakes, then take the second snowflake and sandwich it right on top. So there's 2 layers of adhesive with a thread in the middle, and then we have this suspended snowflake that's going to twirl and spin. Then again, using the grid mark lines on my glass board, I'm going to adhere that invisible tape down and then add another layer of red line tape. I know I'm going overboard with this, but I do not want it to get loose, so I'm making sure that it's held down really well. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim off the ornament topper here and then add adhesive to my top panel and adhere it down over my card base. So when I open it up on the inside, as you can see, there's that second ring that's a little bit bigger. I want to hide all of that and cover it and make it look nice and tidy inside with that second snowflake ring that I die cut at the beginning of this video. Now we can just work on a sentiment. Initially, I used this large scripty Christmas sentiment, and once I die cut it out, I thought maybe it was too distracting for the card that I have, plus the black is a little bit too bold, so I decided to ditch that scripty sentiment, which is beautiful, by the way. On another project, it would probably be perfect. I just die cut a simple Christmas sentiment and added the word wishes that I did from my initial embossing. And so here we have our fun spinner card. You just need to spin it before you close it, and when the recipient opens it, that snowflake is going to spin freely. It's so much fun and such a great surprise for the recipient. And that finishes my card today using Gina K's STAMPtember exclusive for Simon Says Stamp. Everything that I used on my card today will be linked below for your convenience. Thank you so much for stopping by and have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!